happen. If you challenge an election, you should be able to challenge an election. I thought the election was a rigged election, a stolen election, and I should have every right to do that. As you know, you have many people that you've been watching over the years do the same thing, whether it's Hillary Clinton or Stacey Abrams or many others. When you have that great freedom to challenge, you have to be able to, otherwise you're going to have very dishonest elections. What has taken place here is a travesty of justice. We did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. And everybody knows it. I've never had such support. And that goes with the other ones too. What they're doing is election interference. They're trying to interfere with an election. There's never been anything like it in our country before. This is their way of campaigning. And this is one instance, but you have three other instances. It's election interference. So I want to thank you for being here. We did nothing wrong at all. And we have every right, every single right to challenge an election that we think is dishonest, that we think it's very dishonest. So thank you all very much, and I'll see you.
I got a cute face, chubby waist, thick legs in shape, rump shaking both ways, make you do a double take. Planet rock, a showstopper, flow topper, head knocker, beat scholar, tail dropper, do my thing, motherfucker. Rolls Royce, Lamborghini, Blue Medina, always beaming, rag top, chrome pipes, blue lights outside. Long weed, sold in, say it again, sold in, make that money, throw it in, booty bouncing down here. Everybody here.
A little Missy Elliott this morning. Good night. And you know what? It's apropos because we got some wild women with us today. Got three wild childs that's ready to cramp y'all styles on a Friday this morning. Totally Randy. We got Misha. What's going on? And we're missing the third one. Yeah, the third wheel has not arrived, has not rolled in, but that's okay. We can hold it down until she gets here. But this morning, how y'all doing first and foremost?
Good. It's
Yes.
I didn't see y'all. I mean, y'all heard the music. I didn't see y'all moving. Y'all was moving before the music.
I mean, it's Missy. Hello.
Right.
Legendary Missy Sierra, who just also dropped another project. She just dropped her project as well. I was dancing. It's a good Friday.
Look, it is. And look, we're going to talk a little bit later. A little segment we're going to spend because it's been 30 years since Khalees been making the boys, milkshakes, been bringing all the boys to the yard. So we're going to talk a little bit about that 30th anniversary with Khalees later on. Of course, inmate number P01135809 is accusing folks, whoever they is, of doing what he did.
That's the funny part. Like I was like, he said there's never been anything like it's seen before, and I'm like, wait a minute, January 6th.
Yeah.
Well, listen. In addition to that, we're going to talk about. I don't know if y'all caught Larry Elder's interview on the Breakfast Club.
Disgusting.
Yeah,
well, you know what? Speaking of Khalees, Nas had something to say about that. He was all down with Larry Elder on that. We tend to uncover who we are these days, don't we? Ice Cube, now Nas. I mean, hey, what's going on?
You know what?
Please, no Virgo blasphemy on a Friday. I cannot.
During Virgo season.
It is Virgo season. However, I'm horrified to hear about Nas.
Horrified, right? I don't care if Larry Elder is 100% or 1,000% right in whatever he says, which is very, very, very rare.
It's very wrong.
Yeah,
you just don't publicly back Larry Elder. It's like publicly backing, MAGA and racism and everything else. But we're gonna talk about all that. Just want a couple of notes that you ladies might be proud of. Our friend Erica Loewe, the director of African American media at the White House and a trusted member of the Biden-Harris administration, who has done nothing but champion the Black press, but also give access to the White House to so many who never had it before. Well, she's getting a promotion at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Got a hat tip to April Ryan. She was the first to break this, but Erica is moving on up like George and Wheezy.
Yes.
So Erica, I am so proud of her. And I just have to say, make sure you go to WashingtonInformer.com to also check out Stacey's story.
Hanging out with Erica right there on the Let It Be Known set.
I was just about to say that. Nice plug, Misha. We pulled it from the Newswire as well. So go to forwardtimes.com. Make sure you look at that. You know what I love the most about what she said is that she paid homage to her grandmother and talked about how it will never get lost on her, that she's still, even as an intern, her late grandmother, by the way, love and light to her. But she talked about how she still is a tourist. You would think that she would walk through the White House and she doesn't. She says she still walks through and she takes pictures because it's never lost on her position of where she is, knowing that her grandmother did not graduate college, and so when she takes us through her life like that, I think that is so beautiful to always remember where you come from and always remember how you're inspiring people and how you're continuing to do that. And so, sis, place the crown on your head. Thank you for your leadership. I think that is so amazing.
She takes care of her mom too. And I don't know if Austin and others are listening right now, but April dropped something in that article that was really interesting. She says Erica is single.
Yeah,
she did say that.
She did throw that in there.
Just casual. April's a mess. He just casually dropped it in there.
But look, is Austin single? I know Austin loved her, but is Austin single? Look.
Well, Austin is single and always ready to mingle, and Austin's crush. Well, we don't talk about Austin's real crush, but I'll let that sit right now.
I mean, she's a gorgeous girl, absolutely gorgeous, very astute. Very
she's so intelligent and
all of the above.
Yeah, she really is. I love seeing her when I go to the White House. She's always greeting you with either a big smile or a big hug. She's just fantastic.
You love that, Stacey.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't? Coming from Erica, who wouldn't?
There is that. But
she was also Misha. She was also in the Capitol on January 6th, having to barricade herself. At the time she was working for Jim Clyburn.
Wow, I did not realize that. I have to say, Erica exudes strong woman through and through. I'm glad that she was completely safe during January 6th, but it looks like she could have, she might have been the first with the folding chair. Okay.
Right. From Florida too. So you know what she's gone through as a Black woman. So absolutely. I'm with that.
Oh, wow. This picture is so incredibly powerful.
Dropping the folding chair on us this morning. Everything's about to happen on this Friday. Look, I mean, they listen. They come in all late, but they come in with game though.
Look,
then look, your girl she's gonna throw us some Missy Elliott. What in the world's going on this morning? Let it be known.
Thank you, Greer. I needed a little bit of Missy to get us started this morning. That was great. That was great. But I just also, as we look at this really powerful photo of Erica and all the people who were affected on January 6th, I just want to shout out Erica also for the amazing work she's done in championing the Black press. We have had so much more access than normal White House access, as well as other administrations, no matter the party, where we haven't had that level of access, getting into these press conferences, talking to some of these leaders. And so I thank Erica. I know that she deserves this promotion in so many ways. And I just can't wait to see how she continues to grow in her career. And absolutely. We are cheering you on 100%.
Yes. Yes,
yeah, absolutely.
We're backing you, Erica. Thank you so much for taking the lead.
Absolutely. And also, another black woman is making some news out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Governor Tim Walz has announced that Justice Natalie Hudson is the new Chief Justice in Minnesota. That makes Judge Hudson, goodness grief, the first person of color to lead the state's judiciary. So, a lot's going on with y'all black women. What's up?
I mean, we're sprinkling magic.
It is what we do. It is
Walt
what
Disney
we
World?
do.
Are you not entertained? Why are you surprised, Stacey? Why are you surprised?
You talking about sprinkling magic? It made me think of Disney.
I mean, we are the happiest place on earth as well. I mean,
exactly.
It's all above for us. Like we're doing it.
No, for sure. It makes me.
It's definitely the happiest place on earth.
I think there's a song called "The Softest Place on Earth." Who have the?
I will attest to that all day.
Yo, I love it. Is Friday. It is really Friday. No, I just want to say that Black women have always been the ones running things and saving the day. A few years ago, Donna Brazile, Leah Daughtry, Mignon Moore, Yolanda Caraway had this great book. I believe it was called For Colored Girls Who Have Considered Politics, or I think they may have even at one point been called the Five Colored Girls. But it was an excellent piece about how Black women have always been the political saviors, really. April Ryan's newest book sort of adds to that conversation in many ways. And so it's not a shock to me that as we're trying to build and improve the world, that Black women are having these positions of leadership. Of course, we're looking in Georgia and seeing what it could look like and what it could mean when a Black judge puts her foot down. And so, and always, and that's how we got to see all those politicians jamming to Missy Elliott this morning, which was great. But congratulations to Justice Natalie Hudson. I mean, it's so exciting to hear not only that she's the first Black person, or not only the first woman, but the first person of color in general to hold this position. So go you.
Let me say, I'm sorry, Randy. I'll let you go in a second, but let me say this. So you mentioned the Missy Elliott. We talking about Missy Elliott, lose your control, and all that stuff. This is what happens when you got your own platform. And Greer has been hooking up our own. Go to our YouTube page and subscribe to the Let It Be Known News YouTube page. We even got a Facebook page. So she's playing as you would say, Randy, she's playing in all y'all faces.
That's right.
Go Greer. No, you're so right.
Powerful woman too, and that's what I wanted to say. Like, Black women literally take the lead on everything. If we're just going to be honest, when we talk about the movements, they were started by Black women. Like, you have to think about the position that we played going back to when we first entered this country. I know people hate to talk about slavery, but baby, slavery was a real thing. It was not legal. It was not legal.
It did not benefit Black people in any way
at all. As a matter of fact, it didn't do anything but pass down generational trauma to us, So, honestly, I think putting, us getting into these positions definitely opens the door for and helps others. Again, going back to Erica when she said, she saw how easy it was to get in the door, and she said, I'm gonna keep it open so that everybody can come. So I think it's just a really great gateway.
I don't think it was easy for her
to
get in.
She didn't say easy like that, right. But she was saying, like, what she was saying was like, I'm in, right. But I realize now that, hey, I can bring other people in. So it's not something that she can get in and then the door is closed.
She's not a Clarence Thomas.
Yeah. No. So
kicking the ladder down behind them, right? She's not Nas going. I'm not a Charlemagne. I'm not a Charlemagne fan. I don't dislike Charlemagne. I could take him or leave him. But how you gonna side with Larry Elder over Charlemagne? Give me a break.
So it was
I don't care what Charlemagne may have said or didn't say or whatever. I know he took him to task for something. Greer and I talked about this. I don't know if we talked about this on the show too, but we talked about this when Biden made that really offensive comment when he was running for president, saying that, you know, you're not black if you don't vote for me. And Larry Elder apparently was taking Charlemagne and the Breakfast Club to task on that. And I'm like, okay, still, you're not going. You should. How's Nas, Ice Cube, whoever else going? Nothing. Larry. Only way I would side with Larry Elder is if somebody says, "Would you be a pallbearer?"
Wow.
That's it.
Okay, so I want Misha to start on this. Well, but Misha, before you start, let me just say this. I don't want to hop on Nas or Ice Cube just yet, and the reason why I say that is because the miseducation of the Negro is a very real thing. You guys go and read that book if you haven't read it already. It's a real thing, and also there is confusion. Okay, I always say this: the best lie is mixed with a little bit of truth, and that's exactly what was happening on Charlemagne's show. Even when the numbers were so disgusting, and he talked about how 60% of the country is white, blacks make up 13%, and yet we lead in homicide rate, rates. We lead in black on black crime, crime and killing each other.
White folks lead in white on white crime. It's what I keep saying.
But again, a little bit of truth, right? A little bit of truth mixed in a lie, because okay, you're saying 13%. Well, first of all, show me your statistics. Show me your hand, right? Because in that same tone, he literally said that when the Washington Post had an actual survey that was done as well about the disparities between blacks getting loans and whites getting loans, and they had the same credit. NV had brought that up, and he said, "Oh, I can show you another story that says the opposite opinion." Okay, well, everybody knows that, because the internet now allows anybody to get up and just put information out there, and that is what's confusing to the public. That's what's problematic to me, because when you throw out there a little bit of truth mixed with so many lies, then you have to rely on people to utilize their discernment, wisdom, and knowledge together to make smart decisions. And a lot of times that does not happen. Even when he got down to talking about the Democratic Party and how they started the Civil War, again, a little bit of truth mixed in it with a lot of lies, because yes, even though we know that the Democrats, that party was switched, it was swapped a little bit. That was a long time ago.
The thing is, right. A long time ago.
He mixed that truth in with so many lies. And so now people are like, oh, wait a minute. Did the Democratic Party start the KKK? No.
But it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter who's the bottom line. It existed and exists. And bottom line is, you got MAGA. You got this guy twice impeached. As Sean D. Harris, it's good to see Sean D. Harris watching from LinkedIn. We got folks watching from LinkedIn. That's all cool. He says that that's why we need to teach our children our history and not leave it up to them. And Sean knows a lot about history. Sean is one of the best historic black cities in America, which is Mount Vernon, New York. But we got this twice impeached, 4 times indicted. This man who brashly said he could grab women by their private parts, then as it would have it, he gets found convicted by a civil jury for sexual assault. Wow, right? And now he's completed another humiliating first, in which he's getting his mugshot. But I want to stay with the Larry Elder, Charlemagne. Well, Charlemagne, really, Misha. Why? Here's my question. And Greer asked me this yesterday. Why do politicians go to the Breakfast Club? Why do they go to the Breakfast Club?
Well, it's the same reason why that big debate with Kennedy, I believe it was with Nixon, and I can't remember who, I guess it was Johnson or somebody, whoever, the first big presidential debate, people tune in. People are going to tune in. And think that The Breakfast Club is a perfect example of a show that is not based in any sort of political or really even news, but has a lot of power, has a whole lot of power. And so people are tuning in. People are going to write comments. People are going to do their research based off of what they hear. Charlemagne has become this trusted voice, no matter in media. Certainly, among a whole lot of people are turning to Charlemagne. I don't know if it's because he wrote a book. I don't know if it's because he has.
I wrote a book.
You know, that's right. You know what I'm saying?
He has the culture. He has the culture gripped. Misha is telling the absolute truth. Charlemagne has the culture gripped. So when you think about popularity, I'm gonna let you finish, Misha, so that I want to answer that question.
But Sean Harris points out too that Hillary, if you recall, Hillary Clinton pulled out a bottle of hot sauce from her purse on the Breakfast Club. He said it's disrespectful. But I also go back to, and we will go back to Misha. But I also go back to one reason, but Greer articulated some really great reasons yesterday. But one reason one of my reasons was, if you remember Arsenio Hall, right? Bill Clinton went on Arsenio Hall, and basically that show gave Clinton the votes he needed for president. I mean, basically, you could trace his presidential campaign success back to the Arsenio Hall show. And I think politicians come to the Breakfast Club with that whole idea that this is going to catapult him. Yes, he speaks to the culture. You know, Black people, whether we like Charlemagne or not, we listen to the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, no, Black people, but it's not just Black people also. Like, you know, obviously it's us, and we're tuning in and we're supporting, and Black X and Threads and all of those certainly talk about what's and spill. The Breakfast Club certainly is important for our culture, but you have to remember all those little white kids from towns that we've never heard of who are also tuning into the Breakfast Club to have a pulse on what's happening in hip hop culture, to have a pulse or to have an understanding about what's happening in the Black community in general, because they want to be a part of it. They're excited about it. And so the problem with these politicians going and trying to pander, not that they don't do it on every other show that they do to whatever crowd they are, is that then you get these people who make assumptions about those watching the Breakfast Club, not realizing that because Hillary Clinton pulled out that hot sauce bottle, that then now all these little white kids are going to be doing the same thing, thinking that, oh, you know, all of the Black folks watching and are like, that's right, I got hot sauce in my bag. No, you know what I mean? But I also do think it exposes politicians in a major way, good or bad. We're talking about it. We're still talking about Hillary Clinton's hot sauce moment. We're still talking about I think Kamala Harris had some comments on the Breakfast Club when she was running that people are like, what happened? You know, that's not really quite the case. And one thing that I do have to give it to Charlemagne, despite the fact that, you know, he's not necessarily a traditional storyteller, is that he does attempt to interrogate these politicians in a way that gets to the end, that gets to the bottom of at least his interests. And thus, you know, there's sometimes some good conversation. I'm disgusted by Nas, and I don't know a lot about it, so I'm not going to even speak on him siding with Larry Elder. But I do think that I like to see politicians on the Breakfast Club.
So can I throw something at you guys? I want to say three things is the reason why, you know, Stacey, I'm going to answer your question for that.
You are?
The first reason is because it has to be done. Unfortunately, you don't want to talk about it, but unfortunately it has to be done. When it comes to politics, you just have to get it from all sides, right? The second reason why I feel like that, you know, is that it's called Politics with Beats. And let me explain that to you guys, because I'm here anchored to my community. I'm in the community working at all times. And a lot of times politics can get very boring for Gen Z, for millennials, right? Who they're trying to go after for the votes. Okay.
Arsenio Hall, Bill Clinton. Go ahead.
Okay. So when you think about them calling it boring, and so you say something like, okay, well, we have a cultured show that's very popular. We're going to bring politicians on there so that we can give you politics with beats. It's going to be funny. Charlemagne is funny. He's going to have his comedic timing on it. People that are listening, they don't have to do anything special to see or to listen to the politicians on there, because there's already a built-in audience for the Breakfast Club, right? But here's another thing I want you guys to think about. Hillary Clinton lost. So when you think about these politicians that get on these platforms and they spew these lies that are mixed with a little bit of truth, they are literally, in 2016, and people are still talking about that, they are literally sowing seeds of doubt in the culture that shows up the most at the polls, right? And are making them not vote. Think about that.
Wait. What did Hillary lie about?
No, I said she lost.
Oh, I think that she
lost.
Oh, okay.
She didn't win. So it didn't help her. Like, I agree with Misha. Yes, the white kids that are listening to the show, yes, they're gonna think, baby, listen, I have been all over the world. And when I say all white kids know, all kids that are not of color know, is hip hop. And every time they see a yo, I had that done to me in Greece. Listen, okay, that what they're looking at is they're looking at what's streamed and what's on TV. So
and Power 96 said 18 to 35-year-olds vote the least. Listen, Quinn Durrett, my future brother-in-law, says, the Breakfast Club will not challenge anyone like Biden on their show. And Greer is saying, along with Quinn, her problem is they don't know the issues. At least they don't speak to the issues. And Sean Harris said Hillary exposed herself. But and he's right. They're not gonna pull that with us here and let it be known. They would certainly not pull that.
I mean, but whether she exposed herself or not, so many people did not show up to the polls because of that, because of everything all of the conversation that's surrounding Hillary Clinton. That is the reason why that seed of doubt was sowed. Because when you talk about the culture and you talk about these people going to the polls, right? Which is why Beyonce was so heavy in the campaign. Jay-Z was so heavy in the campaign, because they knew what was happening was those seeds of doubt being sown. And so people are like, well, we're not going to vote for anybody, because why am I showing up to the polls? I don't believe in her. I'm not with her. And I'm also not with him. And then guess who won, right? That's why so many people are angry right now. That's why there's a conversation around what's happening at the Breakfast Club. And I totally agree with Greer. They don't know the issue. The only thing I will say is I don't know the young lady that they had on there. I mean, after Angela Yee left, After Angela Yee left, I literally don't really listen to the Breakfast Club like that anymore. But the young lady that they had up there, she was trying to kind of throw some things in, but again, it was just getting lost. And let me also say this about Larry, okay? Larry is like a lot of Black people in the culture that grew up with a certain amount of privilege, because the way that he talked about Black people working hard and there's no systemic racism.
He's an idiot. He's a complete idiot. Misha, I need to have a private conversation with you about Randy, because she had to drop in Jay-Z's name.
This is why the culture cannot unify and go forward, because
he had to drop in a Jay-Z show.
That's right. Jay-Z said.
Jay-Z said, "Who cares what he said? Tell him to comb his hair."
That is racist, Stacey.
Look, Stacey,
I'm gonna be racist.
Making a choice. That man is making a choice for his hair. He's letting it grow as God allows.
Listen, all the females heard was hair.
Yes. But
he's making a choice.
I'm looking at Orrin and Sean D. Harris's comments, and certainly Orrin G. Swag Sports said he doesn't listen to the show. I absolutely do not listen to the Breakfast Club regularly. And I think that, again, there's so many assumptions about who's tuning in, who's the folks turning to the Breakfast Club as their reliable source of news. But there are those who are. And so, one, I think it's really important that we don't knock necessarily what's happening at the Breakfast Club, because they do have such a platform. But just as we are interrogating these politicians, interrogating these media folks, and ensuring that holding them responsible, holding them accountable for asking the right questions, for letting them know what we expect as audiences, as the people to hear, to gain from their interviews. That's the first thing. Secondly, Larry Elder is in a group, a handful of Black people who not only forget their Blackness, but then in certain ways tout their Blackness.
Another Candace Owens.
Exactly.
He's even worse to me because she's Delulu, as they say, right? That's the new
no, she's playing that way.
Candace is definitely Delulu, but he's worse to me because he spews out these statistics and facts.
But so does she. She's horrible. They both are just, like I said, same goes to her. If you want me next to them, make sure that you saying you're the pallbearer. That's it.
Here's the thing. Like, I like that Misha said that he forgets his Blackness, because
he don't know he Black.
When Charlamagne was asked, and that's another question too. That's another thing too, Misha. You were absolutely hit the nail on the head. When these journalists, media personalities, media people, please be knowledgeable about the issues, be up on it. Stop asking questions like, well, what do white people do wrong? No, hit him where he's spewing out these facts that are full of lies. Then you have to counteract with questions that would make him tell the truth, just like how Envy did. And Envy said, no, these people had the same credit scores, and yet Black people still were not given they weren't given the same race. Like, he didn't have an answer to that. The only thing that he said to that was, well, I could show you a study that says the opposite. Well, so can anyone. If you look up, if you Google, does coffee give you great eyesight? You can find an article on that. If you Google, does coffee take your eyesight? You can find an article on that.
But Randy, so the bottom line with you, Randy, what's your bottom line is that this is why these candidates, and Larry Elder is a candidate for president. And people forget that too, right? He wasn't even allowed on the debate stage. That's how it's like, come on, Negro, please. But the thing is, they are out. Charlamagne and them this is not what they supposed to do. They're out of it. They're not journalists. Right.
Yes, but how do you? But again, like Misha said, a lot of people, the culture get their it's politics with beats, right? A lot of the culture
I understand that
politics from streaming
this
platforms.
Is part of the problem, right? I understand what you're saying. Yeah,
so here's the question. Here's the question. How do we make it interesting to the culture? If we cannot put them on this platform, if the Breakfast Club shouldn't have given them that platform, which we look at the numbers and see that it blew up, right? It got us talking about it. Then how do the real journalists and the real political journalists make it interesting for the culture to get the information out to our culture and make sure that they have the correct and precise knowledge? That is the question.
Managing editor, you want to answer that?
Well, I mean, I think, again, it all boils down to the fact that we have to work on, particularly in the Black press, is expanding our reach, expanding our viewership, expanding our readership, all of the above. Because if not, we're going to get people who, we can, sit and suck our teeth and say, well, they didn't ask the right questions, but they're doing the work that we should be doing because they have the platform, because they have the reach. So again, I look at the Breakfast Club, and I look at the Shade Room, and I look at those people with amazing IG shows and TikTokers, right, that get these politicians or these leaders in whatever world to come on their platforms because they have reach. And so maybe they're not asking the right questions.
Yeah, because Black people do consume Black media.
That's right. It's the way that we storytell. We have to start storytelling in strategic and creative ways.
Well, I think that's true to some extent, because I think the Black press has historically done that. What you're saying, Randy?
Absolutely. But our reach has to be expanded. Like we have to expand our reach to
and how do we
millennials.
do that?
We're doing the work. We're doing the work. It takes some time for the Titanic to turn, right? It's going to take some time, and we are doing the work to expand to Gen Z and millennials, and to change and to shift and pivot how we're telling those stories.
So let me just
right now.
So let me jump in with some just a couple. And Misha, I'm sure she can give you a long list of challenges that the Black press has. In fact, Misha is one of those gems who went away from the Black press for a little while, went with mainstream media, and came back and brought even more to the Black press. But let me say this: so we have a congressional Black caucus that we talk about that has its biggest membership ever, et cetera, et cetera. Yes. They don't take time for the Black press, right? When they're in trouble, they take time for the Black press. Same thing with celebrities. I know I get on Jay-Z. He's not the only one. Certainly, he is among the most egregious.
Oh my goodness, Stacey.
No, and it's true. It's true. He's one of the most egregious, right?
Hop off.
And him and his hair is one of the most egregious, and celebrities. It goes all the way back. Michael Jackson. The only time Michael Jackson came to the Black press was when they put handcuffs on him, right? This is what Black folks in positions, like we talked about Erica Lowe earlier. Erica got to the White House and never forgot that, like you said, that door was open for her. She barged through that door and never forgot anybody behind her, pulling people in, giving that access. This is what folks who look like us, who have attained some things, and that's why you have the Larry Elders and Ice Cubes of the world, right? They start to lose it totally. This is why you have Jay-Z's of the world who say, yeah, I'm from Brooklyn, I'm from the project, I used to sell drugs, but y'all get ahead with that Black stuff, right?
But let me say this, because I think I really want to make this clear. You asked about reach and why people are going to it. Yeah, Black people are taking in Black media. Absolutely. But per my point before, and when we're talking about reach, is that a lot of the folks tuning into shows like the Black Breakfast Club or who are watching the things on the Shade Room and things like that are not Black people. That is what I'm talking about. And
right.
We're talking about the majority. We're talking about the people in this world who are the majority of the voters. It's not our people. And so unfortunate, while we're doing amazing work. If somebody, I would love for Larry Elder to come on here. Please, let me get out the gloves ready. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day,
but he's gonna avoid coming on here.
Avoid truth tellers. He's going to.
So there. That's what we're saying, Randy. There's part of the problem, right?
Let me explain something to you. I never said that it wasn't any truth to that. Absolutely, the part of the problem is they avoid us, right? So again, what I'm saying is strategically and creatively telling the story. So maybe there's a way that we hook, line, bait, and catch that fish, right? There, again, I can't lay down an actual line, a pipeline of how we get there to there. But what I can tell you is the reason why they got that popularity is through how they strategically and creatively put that platform out there. And that's with like how Misha said, that's with everyone. They're IG people that are on there, the TikTok people.
But Randy, it's also about them forgetting. It's also about people forgetting where they came from. Bottom line, we went through this year with the Universal Hip Hop folks. They're in our corner. When the pandemic was here, and this was shortly after the pandemic, really. or perhaps it was just before the pandemic ended. No media was really paying attention to them or whatever. And then they came to us, the whole crew. We had the whole crew and nothing but the crew on this program, right? LL, all of them on this program, Ice Cube, all of them on this program. But here's the thing. So 50th anniversary, big celebration. We were told, oh man, we got to have the black press there. We was approached. Let it be known, was approached. We want y'all backstage at Yankee Stadium. We want to do this. We want to do that. And then when it came time to put up, they shut up.
Exactly.
They shut up.
Yeah.
They ghosted us.
No, and
they came to us with that.
No, and it's a constant thing. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've done an interview, I've put in the time, and then got promised to be at an event or something like that. And then suddenly we've been ghosted because we're the black press. And to Sean D. Harris's point, he says the Breakfast Club and the Shade Room is for entertainment, not news. They're the TMZ of the black community. But that's the part that I want to say to take away, because I agree with you, except that the black community, because it's what we think, again, is somehow representing us. And that's by no means the case. And again, I mean, if you go onto these pages of who their followers are, it's a lot of people without brown skin, okay? It's a lot of folks that are lack melanated skin. And that's because they're tuning into us thinking it is a representation of the black community. They need to be subscribed to Black Press USA if they're really going to get information about what's happening.
Absolutely. I always say that. Do you know the black press in your city? That is, since I discovered the black press, I always tell people, again, anchored to my community, in my community, and communities across the nation, wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, I'm always saying, do you know the black press in your community? Do you know the black? Because we are accurately telling our stories. We are accurately telling our history.
Isn't that the key, what you're saying, accurately?
Accurately, because and the reason why I'm saying that is because, again, Larry put some truth with a lot of lies. That has to be, you have to seal that in your head. Everything that he was saying wasn't just straight all lies. There were some
unchallenged, though. It went unchallenged.
Why you get the Nas's of the world, the Ice Cubes of the world, with their miseducation of the Negro? Because when you amass amount of success and money to pull you out of where you come from, sometimes you forget. Again, he talked about there's no systemic racism, that a lot of people, it's almost as if saying the earth is flat. The people that believe that there's no systemic racism, yet and still, what the heck is redlining?
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of miseducation, Lauryn Hill going on tour.
I did see that.
Yeah,
I did see Miss Lauryn Hill.
Well, she has to start going now so that she can make it on time. Let me stop.
Hey, Steve, why you throwing shade at Lauryn Hill? We will not tolerate shade toward Lauryn Hill.
Well, stop talking about my brilliant goat, okay, Jay-Z?
Oh my God, he look like a goat. He look like a goat.
I am.
When Beyonce wake up to each other in the morning, how?
Look, she's flawless.
Not looking in his face.
Flawless. She wakes up flawless.
Right.
Okay.
But not looking in his face.
She does.
That Virgo, if she wakes up every morning looking in his face, she would be 12 pounds for throwing up every day.
That Virgo was singing about a Sagittarius. Virgo's groove is about Jay-Z.
Hey, y'all, check this out. How y'all feel about this, ladies? Halle Berry has agreed to pay $8,000 a month in child support to her ex-husband, Oliver Martinez, after they finally finalized their divorce after all these years. And he will also, in addition to the $8,000 a month in child support, he's going to receive almost 4.5% of all her income over $2 million. And she's going to have to cover all school expenses for their 9-year-old child. I mean, what in the world? What, does the homeboy work?
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out, because I know that he's Halle's ex, and
he worked her.
He definitely worked her. He worked her all the way. And I was thinking, how much money did he have going into that relationship? I guess it wasn't on the Halle level, but boy, did he know what he was doing when he got her money like that.
Right.
Wait, Power 96 said if he was Halle, he would hire OJ Simpson.
City Boys up 1,000.
That's hilarious. But no, City Boys up 1,000 after, as Randy said, after all of us said, he deserves his coins. Okay, not his coin, but his coins. I mean, I want the woman in me that
she was Halle Berry before he was Mr. Halle Berry.
Well, yes. Exactly. But I always want to say, like, we don't owe y'all nothing. That's always in the back of my head. But in this situation, she is Halle Berry. I feel like, there was a certain lifestyle that he grew accustomed to, that their child has grown accustomed to. And at the end of the day,
Love should have brought him home.
Love should have brought her home, because it sounds like to me, like, I don't know the intricate details of what happened. Is it a part of their prenup or what happened? But she had to go back to work. Producer Greer, baby, yes. She be in the comments, literally have me laughing. She said,
so what's the difference in
white women pay child support? I don't know about other white women. I know that Johnny Depp's ex, right, had to pay him, but still, I don't know the intricate details. But I will say this: who is this guy? Who are you?
Well, what was he in? Because he's right.
What was he in?
He's also in that. Well,
he was Mr. Halle Berry.
It's a Friday. I was going to say
that was the role he played, Mr. Halle Berry.
That was the role he played heavily. But no, it's so crazy to me to think about the fact that Halle Berry is now going to be. We about to see so many Halle Berry blockbusters after this one. At this point, as a fan, and I know all the men in particular are ready to see her throw on whatever jumpsuit she needs to put on to pay them bills to her ex-husband. Because that's what Mary, as Mary said, Mary J. Blige had to go back to work. Okay. She's touring because of it. Toni Braxton. We look at these people who owe their spouses, these women, who owe their spouses money and are on the grind because of it. And all I can say is that the benefit is we get to see Halle more, hopefully, in some blockbusters.
So wait, I want to answer. I want to answer Greer's.
His name is French. It's
Olivier.
Right. He was well known in France as an actor, and he played in some crazy stuff that won him a Caesar Award for most promising actor. The Horseman on the Roof and The Chambermaid on the Titanic. So that's his claim to fame. But his real claim to fame, of course, is Mr. Halle Berry. But go ahead.
And they want to get mad when women say stuff like, "Ladies, don't settle and don't date." But I won't even go there because that's a whole relationship topic. But I want to answer producer Greer because she definitely had a good point. Okay, so Greer and Heche. Okay, she had to pay $275,000 plus child support. Anne Heche, I'm so sorry about that. Anne Heche, I said Heche. Anne Heche, Elizabeth Taylor, Madonna, Christy Alley.
Elizabeth Taylor should when she was alive, she needed to be paying people. I don't care.
Britney Spears, and this is just a list of those who are paying.
And poor Britney Spears,
$20,000 per month in child support. Okay,
and that husband just left her. What a wreck. Hopefully Britney Spears will survive this mentally and otherwise.
Yes, because a lot of people were like free Britney, and now they're saying put some boundaries around.
But ladies, how do y'all really feel about women having to pay men?
Well, that was my point, because I normally always say, like, you don't. I'd like to say that we as women really don't owe our partners anything. When I say after someone is my ex, I'm like, who? I don't know what happened to them. I don't know that person. I never dated them.
But would you want alimony?
Well, but right to that point, if the roles were reversed, okay, and my Carmelo, I had to get it out of Carmelo, or and I did not work out. I really want the people to know that Carmelo and I are not a couple.
Not yet.
but just but you love me.
But we love each other in my head. And so but if Carmelo Anthony and I did not work out for whatever reason, I certainly would expect alimony. And I think we're talking when we're looking at a situation like Olivier Martinez and Halle Berry, we also have to put into context that we're talking about a child. And so the fact that those kids, that child will have to live between two different households, you know, and don't get me wrong, I had friends who absolutely would be slumming it at mamas and living large at daddies, or vice versa at times, which is just a messed up part of this world we're living in. But it's not fair by any means. And so if we're doing what's right and just within the legal system, then women like Halle Berry have to pay up, unfortunately, because we have to protect that child. I completely see Mike V's.
I can see the child support, Misha, though, but what about the spousal support?
Well, it's the same thing. I think it works.
But they separated. They separated it's not the
same.
But
it depends on what was written in there. It depends on what was written in there.
No, I understand that. No, right. That's not what I'm asking, Randy. I understand that. I'm saying I can see saying, okay, he has custody of the child, pay the child, you got to pay the child support. But what's with this spousal support?
Because I think look at it this way. And again, this is totally Misha opinion here. If Carmelo and I had a child together, or our children, and then he had to come back to, you know, my little place in Northwest DC, you know, that has things that need to be fixed, but then had to go and then could go to his father's house with that's a mansion and a pool and da 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 da. And you know, I understand that it happens in this world, and it is what it is, and that a child can get the best of both worlds. But in this situation, I think what they're hoping to do is allow this child to keep their lifestyle in general. And so, yes, this kid will be paid for, but also daddy now will be living at least as close to as possible in a way that is comfortable, like he lived when mommy and daddy
But again, remember, we're talking about spousal support, right? And they've been apart for 8 years. 8 years. So whatever he's been living like for the 8 years, he's good.
Okay, but see, you're missing Misha's point. Misha is saying that the child has to experience. They want the child to experience, and I'm not saying that this is what they want, but like
if that child work and she's giving him $8,000 a month on top of whatever income he's making, that child should be living a pretty decent life.
Okay, that's according to you though, that $8,000 a month is living a decent life.
Listen, I'm saying if somebody right now, right, on top of what I make, right, says I'm going to give you $8,000 a month. I'm living the life of Riley.
Yes, but you have to. Okay, so think about it this way. That's according to. Take the numbers, Stacey, and bring the numbers down. Okay, when you take the numbers and bring them down. So if you're saying, hey, I'm going to give you an extra $2,000, right? You are thinking about the lifestyle of this kid when the child, because obviously if you're paying child support, then he has custody of the child. And I had questions about that.
You're talking about spousal support, though,
right? But
I give him the child support. I get that, the $8,000 a month for the child support, but now on top of that, she's got to pay spousal support. In addition to that, anything that she makes over $2 million, he gets 4.5% of that. What in the world?
Yeah, you have to be careful about the beds you make. You have to be careful about the beds you make and how you lay down in them, because unfortunately, it sounds very much like legal documentation. It doesn't sound like something that he came up off the top of his head that he wanted. It sounds like
he had to have made an ask, right?
It sounds like this was stipulations that was placed before they got married.
No, so I don't. No. They fought. No, there wasn't stipulations placed before they got married. Like I said, he had an ask afterwards, right? This is what I want in the divorce, and she said, This is what you're not getting. And so the judge decided. This is what the judge decided. This wasn't stipulated. The judge
So
decided
this was not stipulated.
This is not stipulated. No,
not even the underlying writing saying that if they're in case of divorce, then there is a
there was
negotiation.
no prenup. Unfortunately, in this case, there was
That's
no.
That's the first mistake.
Well, that's her mistake, but we're not talking about her mistake right now. We know she done made many mistakes. She's a little off in the head. We know Hallie's off. She looks good, but she's off. But
that's why she's not coming to talk to you, Stacey.
She coming to talk to me. If I want Hallie to talk to me, Hallie's talking to me. I'm going out to her house. We're gonna sit and chat at the fireplace. But the thing about it is, she knows she's off. Come on, shit. Anyway, no prenup. He wants all of this. He asked for more than this. Because this is what the judge settled on. It's always a compromise somewhere, right? Since y'all done gave me a million ladies answers, let me give you the man's what I feel is a man's point of view. I do not. I'll take the child support under certain circumstances, right? But I don't want some woman that I'm no longer have no more interest in, don't care about. I don't want her money. I don't want her spousal support.
Okay, and Shanae to me,
she ain't going nowhere.
And she's not, but she's better to me than Halle Berry. Let's start there.
Oh, without question. Halle can't hold a candle.
Better than Halle Berry, right? And I just feel like if it got there, right, you would want that. You would want Shanae. First of all, it would be 8 years of fighting for Shanae. Okay, let's first start there. Okay, let's start there. Olivier didn't want to get rid of Halle. I just think that's there. But I also don't think, despite the fact that they were going back and forth in all of this, I wish I had the legal documents in front of me to really get into it. But I contend that he was not slumming by any means the past 8 years. I think that she was giving him some sort of money and support that was just not officially on the books in order to get, I think they got to the number 8,000 because it could have been 15,000 something. I mean, I really want to be very clear because we know that happens and just in private relationships. The other piece to that, though, that I want to point out is that in him taking vows to Halle Berry, that is what they made an agreement before the state, the court, and God. Okay, and so he's just not her baby daddy or the child that her child's father. I guess that's the way to say it. That's her ex-husband. And so the courts really take that very, very seriously. Finally, I want to point out that I'm looking at Olivier's IMDb. It's not looking like he's working that often. He's broke. He's broke, and it's looking like he's given probably in many ways stay-at-home dad, despite the fact that he goes, the little kid goes to school. He's probably given stay-at-home dad, going to all the games.
Misha checking him out, like, who is no good?
Using that 8,000 for investment.
Using that look, right? Might be investing. Look, my dog.
The dog come out.
My
dog is coming out.
Halle Berry don't owe him nothing. Look, my dogs are like, Halle, keep your coins. Yeah, but I think that's what happened. I think that he is playing nanny. He is playing transportation services, chef, and all of that.
Look what Mike V said. He says only a matter of time before black men start going after black women's SNAP benefits in Section 8.
Look, Mike, it's happening. It's happening already.
Mike,
it is totally happening. I know that there are brothers out there that find out that cute girl with them 3 babies is also on Section 8. No, them babies are not mine, but my food will be free. Okay.
Well, to be honest, because again, I've had my hand in a little bit of a lot. And so, to be honest, that's one of the number one things that's here in the Houston Housing Authority. Those men living on those women that are living in income-based housing, Section 8 housing. These men stand on those women. That's absolutely true, Mike V. They're already doing it.
It's already. I know people. Look,
listen. We are the culture, so we are tapped into that sector of the world too. But I'm gonna just honestly say, y'all remember when Janet got all of that heat for marrying the billionaire and saying that, you know, she set that up, that, you know, she walked away with $500 million.
No, she didn't.
Said,
she didn't walk away.
You got the blueprint. We're gonna follow it, okay? And they
giving her too much credit.
About Mary J. Blige. I think producer Greer talked about it earlier. Mary J. Blige. You know, when you think about the way that these men, Wendy Williams.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about the way that they have literally just said, you know what, I am going to get with a baddie with some money, even though I don't make that much, and I'm going to stick it out until it falls apart, and boom, I'm hitting the lotto as well. And I really think that that's what's going on here. That's my opinion on it.
So let me ask y'all this. How much should Rihanna pay me for our second child she just had? I just want to know.
Shanae, when you draw those divorce papers up, make
sure she knows that me and Rihanna had 2 kids. She already know that. She knows.
I am absolutely deceased. Look, all I'm saying is you play with ASAP Rocky, you know.
That's right.
I mean, listen. I don't know ASAP's music and all that stuff, but I'm an ASAP fan. You know why? Because he's one of the smartest men that I've ever heard of.
You laughed before you said
that. He couldn't get it out.
He's got Rihanna. He's got Rihanna. He got Riri. That man know what he's doing.
No, Jay-Z know what he's doing.
His position is right. Yeah. No, Jay-Z, come on, Jay-Z.
Jay-Z said, "Keep it one."
Jay-Z's like the furniture around Beyonce's house. That's all.
That's all right. He's still there. He's there. Not too many pieces.
Not too many people could even say that they grace Beyonce's presence. They got 3 babies together. Again, they took vows between God and the state to their.
She came back.
Post him cheating. Post
right,
with the good hair.
Listen, y'all, before we go, Greer saying it's a wrap, but before we go, in 2003, Khalees brought the boys to the yard with her milkshake. 20 years ago, the singer-songwriter said she didn't expect the song to become such a big hit. She spoke with People magazine about the 20th anniversary of Milkshake, the lead single from her 2003 album Tasty. She stated that while it seems like the song was destined to be a smash, in hindsight, for listeners, it wasn't so cut and dry at the time. Milkshake.
There's no way she didn't know that thing was a hit when they finished those last touches at the studio. That
that right there, sold the record right there. That right there, that picture right there.
Let me make it very clear. That music video was genius. And by all means, did the music video certainly helped the song go as big as it did.
Shanae said the beat was fire.
The beat was fire. That it was so incredibly good. Her voice, I've gotten a chance to interview Khalees a couple times. I love her. I'm a huge fan. As a girl with a fellow raspy voice, and as like a middle schooler at the time that Milkshake came out, it changed my life because I'm like, oh, look at her. She has a raspy voice like me. And she's
quirky like me.
Yes, and she's quirky.
All the things.
Yes, you know, and it just, I am so happy that this song still is relevant.
You know, she said when it first came out, radio refused to play it. They couldn't get radio to play it.
Well, but that's why I think the music video certainly helped. Don't get me wrong.
And let me just put my last comments on Milkshake. The only thing, I love everything about it. I agree with Misha. The only thing that I truly hate, and I tried to keep it as long as I could, was that the La-Las was gone on Beyonce's Renaissance song for Energy. I really really feel like that
she
really
got
made
controversy because she told Beyonce.
Yeah, I hate the
you can't use it.
controversy. I don't.
She said you can't use it because of the fact that nobody asked me.
I agree, and again,
Stacey, that. She was right. I don't care how big Beyonce's record is going.
Yeah, I agree.
You got to get that permission.
No. Yeah, when I was on your show, Stacey, when that took place, I said that, you know, I love Khalees. I'm still a big fan of Khalees. And I totally agree with her. I sided with her on that. Beyonce's team should have definitely reached out. Beyonce took it off the record. I really hate that because
that was a bad move.
In all honesty, it made the record. For me, it made that record.
Well, but you know what, Randy, it was a bad move because Khalees was 100% right, and Beyonce should have acknowledged that, or could have. Maybe Beyonce didn't know. Maybe it's her people. They could have acknowledged that and said, you know what, she's right. You know, let's make a deal.
Right.
And it sounds like it may, and you know, you never know with folks, but it sounds like it would not have taken some money. It would have taken an acknowledgement, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, no, it would have taken some money too.
It taken some money. Okay.
It would have taken some money too because it wasn't just Khalees who was affected. There were a lot of people who made that record.
That's true.
It was.
That's true.
So it would have. I mean, you know, acknowledging it would have then meant that Beyonce would have had to put her money where her record was in that case.
It's Beyonce is a third ward president, baby. She is non-confrontational.
Yeah. She just keeps it moving, which we've seen her do in many cases.
Yeah, listen, she better get more like, what's her name? Homegirl. That's you know, Cardi B. Cardi B says, Cardi B suing everybody, and people say why are you suing her? She ain't got no money. That's the point. Cardi B is not playing. She's suing everybody.
Beyonce is an unbothered Virgo queen who is just making her money and keeping it going. And kudos to her. The only other thing I have to say about Milkshake, and Randy, you're going to be, I think, going to be with me on this 100%, is that it also was taken up to the next level when it was featured in the Tina Fey classic that is Mean Girls.
Yes.
You know,
listen, y'all know Khalees probably her favorite song right now when she thinks of Nas. But what would that be?
I hate you so much right
now.
There
you go.
That was my anthem, baby.
It was so great.
With that big curly fro.
Yes.
Y'all love mess.
Yes, absolutely.
It's Friday. Come on, Grit. You brought us in with Missy. Who you taking us out with? Unless Mimi gonna do some singing and dancing. Come on.